The Sumerians appeared in history with no warning, no gradual development, no traceable ancestors, just cities, writing, mathematics, fully formed as if placed there. Historians always assumed there was an explanation buried somewhere in the archaeological record. When scientists finally extracted ancient DNA from their bones, they thought they had found it, but they had not. What the genome revealed was stranger than anything the ruins had suggested. Around 3,500 BCE, something shifted in the flatlands between the Tigris and Euphrates. Within a few generations, cities appeared where none had existed. Uruk, Eridu, Ur, not villages, cities. Uruk alone, by around 3,100 BCE, held between 40,000 and 80,000 people within its walls, making it the largest urban center on Earth at that moment. Its streets ran along canals, its temples rose on terraced platforms. Its administrators invented writing not to tell stories, but to count grain and track labor. No other civilization on record developed this way. Every other great culture left a traceable arc, centuries of gradual complexity before the leap. The Sumerians left no such arc. They arrived, as the archaeological record shows, essentially complete. Their language made the mystery harder to dismiss. Sumerian is a language isolate, unrelated to any known language family, ancient or modern. Not to the Semitic languages spoken by their neighbors, not to Indo-European, not to Dravidian, not to Uralic. Linguists have spent nearly 2 centuries attempting to connect it to something, anything, in the human language record. Proposals have been made linking Sumerian to Indo-European, Austroasiatic, Dravidian, Uralic, Sino-Tibetan, and Turkic families. Every attempt has failed. The sound correspondences do not hold. The grammatical structures diverge. The oldest written language on Earth, first attested around 3,100 BCE, belongs to no family tree. A civilization that built the first cities and wrote the first laws spoke a tongue that came from nowhere and led to nothing. When geneticists began extracting ancient DNA from Sumerian remains, the hope was that the genome would settle what 2 centuries of linguistics could not. It did not settle it. A study published in Science in 2022, led by Iosif Lazaridis at Harvard Medical School, and drawing on ancient DNA from pre-pottery Neolithic sites across Mesopotamia, mapped the genetic landscape of the populations that preceded and surrounded the Sumerians. The work was technically demanding. Mesopotamia's hot, arid climate degrades DNA faster than almost any environment on Earth, and contaminant DNA from modern sources can overwhelm the ancient signal entirely. Researchers targeted the petrous bone, the densest portion of the human skull, located at the base behind the ear, a natural vault that preserves genetic material better than any other part of the skeleton, precisely because its crystalline structure resists bacterial intrusion. Even so, many samples yielded nothing usable. The ones that did required ultraviolet sterilized clean rooms, silica-based extraction protocols, and double-indexed sequencing libraries, built to confirm that what emerged from the bone was genuinely ancient and not contamination introduced at some point in the 3,000 years since burial. The process is slow, exacting, and leaves no room for assumption. What emerged from that process was a picture of deep complexity. Populations from the Zagros Mountains of western Iran, from the Levant, from Anatolia, each carrying distinct ancestry profiles that had mixed and shifted across millennia. The Sumerians themselves showed partial ancestry connecting them to Zagros Chalcolithic farmers, but only partial. The remaining genetic signal, the component that distinguished them from every surrounding population, pointed toward a source that has not yet been identified in the ancient DNA record. Not Anatolia, not the Caucasus, not the Levant. A genetic signature present at the birth of civilization that traces so far to nowhere. DNA says otherwise, and then goes quiet. What surrounded that silence made it harder to ignore. Lapis lazuli recovered from the royal cemetery of Ur, inlaid into lyres, gaming boards, headdresses, and daggers, was traced by geochemical analysis to mines in Badakhshan, in what is now northeastern Afghanistan, over 3,000 kilometers away. The stone traveled across mountain ranges and river systems before reaching the hands of Sumerian craftsmen who shaped it into objects buried with royalty around 2600 BCE. Copper artifacts recovered from Sumerian sites were sourced to Oman on the southeastern tip of the Arabian Peninsula, a maritime journey of over 2,000 kilometers through the Persian Gulf. Carnelian beads found in the same royal graves at Ur, dated between 2600 and 2450 BCE, carried the distinctive surface treatment of Indus Valley bead production, a technique not practiced anywhere in Mesopotamia. Sumerian economic documents from the 3rd dynasty of Ur recorded ships arriving from Dilmun, the island of Bahrain, carrying gold, copper, lapis lazuli, ivory, and semi-precious stones, goods that originated further east and traveled through Gulf intermediaries before reaching Sumerian ports. The city was pulling the known world toward it. Every material culture on the planet that mattered was represented in its storerooms and its graves. And yet the people who built and administered this system left a genetic ancestry that matched none of those trading partners. The Sumerians absorbed the world's goods without absorbing the world's genes. Individuals buried in the same cemetery at the same moment in history showed markedly different ancestry patterns, evidence that Sumer was not a uniform society but a cosmopolitan one, drawing people from multiple origins into a single urban experiment. The unified ancestry component appeared across that diversity. Wherever the Sumerians came from, they brought something that nothing else in the ancient world shared. The civilization was absorbed into the Akkadian Empire around 2334 BCE, when Sargon of Akkad besieged Uruk and ended Sumerian political independence. The language survived as a liturgical and scholarly tongue for another 2,000 years, the way Latin survived Rome, used in temples and scribal schools long after it ceased to be spoken in the streets. Their genetic line thinned into the broader population of Mesopotamia, but the study of ancient DNA in the region is still early. Dozens of skeletal remains from excavations in the early 20th century, collected before ancient genomics existed as a discipline, sit in museum storage unsampled. Each one is a potential answer. The technology now exists to ask the question. The answers are not yet fully in. In the storage rooms of the British Museum, inside acid-free boxes on metal shelving, lie bone fragments recovered from the Royal Cemetery of Ur during Leonard Woolley's excavations between 1922 and 1934. Woolley documented 1,850 graves. He recorded the gold headdresses inlaid with lapis lazuli, the lyres, the sacrificial retainers buried alongside royalty in pits that suggested a civilization that understood death as theater. He could not have imagined that a century later, the most important information in those boxes would not be what surrounded the bones, but what was inside them. Those remains have not yet been fully sequenced. When they are, the genome of Ur's royal dead will speak for the first time. Whether it closes the question or deepens it, no one yet knows. The Sumerians built the first cities, wrote the first laws, and gave the world its first written epic, the story of Gilgamesh, a king of Uruk searching for immortality across a landscape that no longer exists. They vanished as a distinct political and linguistic presence by the early 2nd millennium BCE. Their genetic line dispersed into the populations that absorbed them. But the unassigned ancestry, the component that appeared at the foundation of civilization and has not been matched to any other known population in the ancient DNA record, remains exactly where the science left it, present, unnamed, waiting for the next excavation, the next sample, the next genome to either place it in the human story or deepen the silence around it. Discovery continues.